Number 11, 1999, Pontiac Trans Am 30th Anniversary Edition. In 1999, Pontiac did something that only the best car companies ever managed to do. They made people feel something. The Trans Am had turned 30 years old, and to celebrate, Pontiac went back to the beginning. White exterior, blue racing stripes, a direct tribute to the original 1969 Trans Am that had started the whole legend. The LS1 V8 made 325 horsepower, the same engine living in Corvettes and Formula cars, wrapped in one of the most recognizable bodies in American automotive history. 165 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. Those numbers were serious in 1999, especially when you consider this was a car you could actually afford, starting under $30,000. Only 1,057 were built. Each one came with a numbered dash plaque. Pontiac had no idea this would be one of the last truly great Trans Ams before the F-body was discontinued in 2002. The people who bought one in 1999 were luckier than they knew. Number 10, 1996, Chevrolet Corvette C4 LT4. Corvette spent 13 years carrying a reputation that it sometimes deserved and sometimes didn't. By 1996, it was time to say goodbye, and the LT4 made sure the farewell was memorable. The LT4 was the hot rod version of the small block, breathing through a revised cam, aluminum heads, and a higher compression ratio that pushed output to 330 horsepower. Not a massive number on paper, but in a Corvette that had shed weight and refined its chassis over a decade of development, it felt completely different from anything the C4 had offered before. 168 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. Only manual transmission buyers could order the LT4, which meant the people who got it were exactly the people who deserved it. 1996 was the C4's final year. The LT4 was its finest hour, and the C5 that replaced it in 1997 was so good that it almost made people forget what they were leaving behind. Almost. Number 9, 1999, Shelby Series 1. Carroll Shelby had built legends with Ford in the 1960s. By the late 1990s, he was 76 years old and had a heart transplant behind him, and he decided to build one more car completely from scratch. The Shelby Series 1 was the first ground-up Shelby design since the original Cobra, a mid-engine roadster with a hand-laid fiberglass body, a race-derived double wishbone suspension, and a supercharged 4.0-liter V8 from Oldsmobile that produced 320 horsepower in a car weighing barely 2,650 pounds, 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, a top speed of 170 miles per hour. Road and Track tested one and called the handling exotic car level, which, coming from them in 1999, was not a casual compliment. Only 249 were ever built. Each one had Carroll Shelby's personal attention in a way that mass production cars never could. At $175,000, it was the most expensive Shelby ever built at the time. Number 8, 1993, Mosler Raptor. Warren Mosler was an economist who built a car that got banned from racing for being too fast. That's the whole story, really. His Raptor, evolved from the Consulier GTP, was fiberglass and Kevlar, mid-engined, powered by a Lingenfelter-modified Corvette 5.8. It defeated a factory Porsche 911 Turbo, a Callaway Corvette, and a ZR1 in the same race at Lime Rock Park, then got banned. Top speed 175 miles per hour, 0 to 60 around 4 seconds. Price tag $157,000. Almost nobody bought one. Some cars exist to prove a point. The Raptor proved several. Number 7, 1998, Dodge Viper RT10 SR2. 6 years after the original Viper hit the streets, Dodge had learned what worked and what needed fixing. The SR2 update kept everything that mattered and sharpened everything that didn't. 450 horsepower from 8.0 liters, 0 to 60 in 4.0 seconds, 180 miles per hour. The side pipes still burned your leg if you stepped out carelessly. The throttle still demanded respect. Nothing about that had changed, and nothing about it needed to. The Viper was never trying to be a European exotic. It was trying to be the most honest American performance car money could buy. In 1998, it was exactly that. Number 6, 1993, Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. By 1993, the ZR1 had been refined to its peak. 405 horsepower, up from the original 375, from a 32-valve quad-cam engine co-designed with Lotus in a production Corvette sold at American dealerships, 180 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. In independent testing, it regularly outran Ferrari 348s and Porsche 911 turbos. Car and Driver had called it the Corvette from hell in 1990. By 1993, that description still fit. It had just gotten more civilized about it. The 93 ZR1 represents the king of the hill at its absolute peak. That's worth something. Number 5, 1995, Vector M12. Vector had been promising to build America's supercar since the 1970s, when an Indonesian conglomerate handed them a Lamborghini Diablo platform in the 90s. They finally had the tools to deliver. A twin-turbocharged American V8 producing 492 horsepower dropped into Italian exotic architecture. 189 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. A body that looked like something NASA had left on a test track. Only 14 were ever built before corporate collapse shut everything down. The M12 is one of the most obscure exotic cars America ever produced, which is exactly why it belongs on this list. Number 4, 1999, Saleen S351SR. Steve Saleen had spent 15 years carefully improving Mustangs. By 1999, he was done being careful. The S351SR, 495 supercharged horsepower, body panels so aggressively modified they shared almost nothing with the standard Mustang underneath. Suspension tuned to humiliate cars costing twice as much, 190 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Full emissions compliance. Road and Track put it on the cover. The S351SR proved American tuners weren't just improving on the factory anymore. They were leaving the factory behind. Number 3, 1991, Callaway Corvette B2K. Reeves Callaway figured out what the Corvette actually wanted to be, and then built it. Twin turbochargers, 450 horsepower, 191 miles per hour. In 1991, that made the Callaway one of the fastest street-legal cars in the world. GM made it officially available through Chevrolet dealerships, which meant you could walk in, write a check, and drive home in something that would outrun a Ferrari. What separated the Callaway from simple tuner builds was the character. The twin-turbo didn't feel violent. It felt authoritative, smooth, and utterly confident at any speed. Reeves Callaway had taken someone else's car and found out what it was always trying to become. Number 2, Dodge Viper GTS. Dodge gave the Viper a roof in 1996. That sounds like a small thing. It changed everything. That twin-stripe fastback roof wasn't just beautiful. It was aerodynamically transformative. The GTS hit 193 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 4.0 seconds. A top speed that matched anything from Ferrari or Porsche. And somehow, underneath all of that performance, a car you could actually use on a daily basis. The 1997 Viper GTS is the moment Dodge got everything right at the same time. Those moments don't come often. Number 1, 1991, Vector W8 twin-turbo, 218 miles per hour in 1991. Jerry Wiegert had been trying to build this car since the 1970s. He ran out of money. He started over. He ran out of money again. And then he built it anyway. A 6.0-liter twin-turbo V8 making 625 horsepower in an aerospace-grade body shaped in a wind tunnel with a cockpit modeled on a fighter jet, because that was exactly what Wiegert had in mind. 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, quarter mile in the high 11s, 218 miles per hour, the fastest American production car in the world in 1991, and one of the fastest production cars on Earth, full stop. Only 19 were ever completed. At $448,000 each, Vector collapsed not long after. But for one extraordinary moment, one stubborn man in California proved that America could build the world's greatest supercar through sheer refusal to accept that it couldn't.